It's a cheating scandal that has rocked Hollywood.
The spotlight can't hide what lurks in the shadows. From a pop star wanting to name his child after the woman he had an affair with, to million-dollar extortion plots.
My family was ruined! What don't you get?
To kiss cam disasters that cost fortunes and careers. These are the 22 cheating scandals that exposed Hollywood's darkest side. Number 22. Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, and Angelina Jolie. Jennifer Aniston watched her marriage end in real time. Not through divorce papers, but through paparazzi photos of her husband playing dad to another woman's child. The official announcement came in January 2005. Within months, photographers captured Brad Pitt on a Kenyan beach with Angelina Jolie and her adopted son, Maddox, looking like a ready-made family. Pitt and Jolie had just finished filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where their chemistry had been so scorching it became its own plot twist. Aniston's friends later revealed she'd felt it happening in real time, too. Pitt came home from the set obsessed, talking endlessly about Jolie's humanitarian work, her adoption of Maddox, her depth. The public splintered into warring factions. Team Aniston wore T-shirts declaring, "Team Jolie is the devil," while romantics defended true love. Then Jolie twisted the knife. In a 2006 interview, she gushed that she couldn't wait to show her children Mr. and Mrs. Smith, because that's where Mommy and Daddy fell in love. The irony arrived a decade later. In 2016, after just 2 years of marriage, Jolie filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Their relationship had produced 6 children and endless headlines, but couldn't survive its own contradictions. Number 21. Andy Byron and Kristen Kitt. It took Coldplay 3 minutes to play Yellow. It took 3 hours for Andy Byron's affair to go viral. It took 3 days for him to lose his job. On July 16, 2025, at TD Garden in Boston, the kiss cam swept across the crowd and landed on Byron, the 43-year-old CEO of software giant Astronomer. He leaned in to kiss the woman beside him, except anyone who knew Byron immediately spotted the problem. The woman wasn't his wife, Megan, but Kristen Kitt, Astronomer's 31-year-old HR director. Their panicked attempt to cover their faces only made it worse. Chris Martin joking from the stage about getting a room. The video hit TikTok before the concert ended, racking up 10 million views overnight. Byron's wife, Megan, learned about the affair the same way everyone else did, through a video her sister sent asking, "Isn't this Andy?" The board placed him on immediate leave. His resignation came 72 hours after Coldplay's opening note. The incident became a cautionary tale for the social media age. Byron's 20-year career and $800 million company valuation destroyed by 15 seconds on a stadium screen. Kitt was also terminated, though she'd later sue Astronomer for wrongful dismissal, arguing the company had no policy against consensual relationships. Number 20. Jesse James and Sandra Bullock. 11 days. That's how long Sandra Bullock got to enjoy her Oscar win before tabloids revealed her husband had been cheating through her entire awards campaign. In March 2010, Michelle McGee, a heavily tattooed model, sold her story to the press for $30,000. She'd spent 11 months sleeping with Jesse James, the man Bullock had publicly called her greatest chapter. The affair had started while Bullock was filming The Blind Side, the very role that would win her the Oscar. McGee wasn't alone. 3 more women came forward within days, each describing encounters at James's garage and West Coast Chopper's shop, painting a picture of systematic betrayal stretching across their 5-year marriage. Just weeks earlier, Bullock had gushed to Barbara Walters that James had her back and was the love of her life. Now she canceled her UK premiere appearances and vanished from public view. filing for divorce in Austin, Texas. The cruelest detail emerged later. Bullock had already begun secretly adopting her son Louis, planning to announce it as a couple's joy. Instead, she would raise him alone, turning what should have been their shared beginning into her solo, fresh start. Number 19. Kevin Hart and Eniku Parrish. Kevin Hart didn't know he was being filmed. His pregnant wife didn't know he was cheating. In September 2017, someone decided they should both find out, for a price. The extortion video showed Hart in a Las Vegas hotel room with Montia Sabag, an actress and model who wasn't his wife, Eniku. Someone had secretly recorded the encounter and was now demanding millions to keep it quiet. Eniku was 8 months pregnant with their first child. Timing designed for maximum leverage. The extortionist wasn't a stranger. It was Jonathan Todd Jackson, Hart's own friend. Hart refused to pay. Instead, he posted an Instagram video apologizing directly to his wife and unborn son before the blackmailer could strike. The normally animated comedian spoke in subdued tones about putting himself in an environment where only bad things can happen. Jackson was arrested for extortion, though charges were eventually dropped due to insufficient evidence. What could have destroyed Hart's marriage instead became what he calls his lowest and strongest moment. Eniku stayed, later revealing she'd known about the infidelity before the extortion attempt. Their son was born that November, with Hart claiming the scandal forced him to become the husband and father he should have been all along. Number 18. Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel. 20 years after cheating on Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake was photographed holding hands with another woman who wasn't his wife. The only thing that changed was the audience watching. November 2019, New Orleans. Paparazzi captured Timberlake with his Palmer co-star Alicia Wainwright on a bar balcony, their fingers intertwined, her hand resting on his thigh. Timberlake was visibly drunk. His wedding ring was nowhere to be seen. He'd been married to Jessica Biel since 2012. The photos exploded across social media, with Spears fans treating it as long-awaited cosmic justice. Timberlake posted a lengthy Instagram apology, blaming alcohol and a strong lapse in judgment. But the apology rang hollow when Spears confirmed in her 2023 memoir that Timberlake had cheated during their relationship, validating decades of whispers. Biel remained publicly silent, though sources reported she was embarrassed and furious. The couple stayed together, but Timberlake's carefully crafted image as a devoted family man never recovered. Number 17. Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. September 24, 2011, was Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore's 6th wedding anniversary. He celebrated with a stranger in a hot tub. She celebrated alone, 3,000 miles away. Sarah Leal was 22 when she met Kutcher at a San Diego hotel party that night. Moore was in New York promoting a film. Leal later sold her story for $15,000, describing an evening that started at a bowling alley, moved to naked hot tubbing in Kutcher's suite, and ended in his bed. The anniversary timing wasn't an unfortunate coincidence. It was the cruelest possible detail. Moore's 2019 memoir revealed this wasn't an isolated incident, but the final betrayal in a slow collapse. Kutcher had grown distant, started lying about his whereabouts, and pushed for an open arrangement that left her feeling used and hollow. Their 15-year age gap, once celebrated as proof love conquers all, became ammunition for critics who said she should have seen it coming. The actress, who'd been Hollywood's highest-paid woman, was now publicly humiliated by a man who'd been on That 70s Show when they met. Number 16. Jay-Z and Beyoncé. TMZ paid $250,000 for 3 minutes of elevator footage. It was worth every penny. The video showed Beyoncé's sister attacking Jay-Z while Beyoncé stood silent, watching her marriage implode in real time. May 5, 2014. Security footage from the Standard Hotel captured Solange Knowles wearing a flowing gold dress, unleashing kicks and punches on her brother-in-law while a bodyguard tried to restrain her. Beyoncé remained motionless in the corner, her stillness somehow more devastating than her sister's rage. The 3-minute, 33-second clip would define celebrity scandal for a decade, but it only showed the attack, not the reason behind it. 2 years later, Beyoncé's visual album Lemonade provided the answer. Songs like Sorry and Hold Up painted a portrait of infidelity so detailed that fans turned detective, hunting for Becky with the good hair. Fashion designer Rachel Roy posted and then quickly deleted an Instagram caption about having good hair. The Bayhive sent death threats within hours. Jay-Z later admitted in his album 444 that he'd nearly destroyed his family for meaningless encounters, calling himself a man who'd ran through the torrential rain of his wife's pain. Number 15. Gerard Piqué and Shakira. Shakira solved her own mystery with a jar of strawberry jam. Her partner claimed he hated strawberries. Someone was eating them while she traveled. The math wasn't complicated. The Colombian superstar, who'd moved to Barcelona for love, hired private investigators who confirmed what the depleting jam had suggested. Gerard Piqué was bringing another woman into their home. Clara Chiamarti, a 23-year-old PR student working at Piqué's production company, had been there while Shakira's children slept upstairs. 11 years, 2 sons, and countless sacrifices for a man who couldn't even hide his affair properly. Their June 2022 separation announcement tried to maintain dignity, but Shakira's pain erupted through her music. BZRP Music Sessions number 43 compared herself to a Rolex and her replacement to a Casio, the song breaking YouTube records with its barely veiled fury. Piqué responded by making his relationship with Marti Instagram official on Shakira's birthday. The soccer star, who'd won the World Cup, now faced booing crowds at stadiums across Spain. Number 14. Adam Levine and Behati Prinsloo. Adam Levine wanted to name his baby after the woman he was sleeping with. Unfortunately for everyone involved, his wife was the one pregnant with that baby. September 19, 2022. Sumner Stroh's TikTok began with her saying she'd been manipulated and exploited. The Instagram model then dropped receipts that sent shockwaves through social media. Direct messages from the Maroon 5 frontman asking about naming his 3rd child after her. He'd allegedly been seeing Stroh for a year while his Victoria's Secret model wife, Behati Prinsloo, was pregnant. The audacity of the request struck people as sociopathic. Within hours, 4 more women emerged with their own screenshots. The messages were embarrassingly crude, the kind of desperate, explicit texts that would make a teenager cringe. Levine's carefully crafted image as a devoted family man, he'd tattooed "True Love" across his knuckles for Prinsloo, crumbled with each new revelation. The rock star who preached devotion was sliding into DMs like an amateur. Levine's response admitted he crossed the line, but denied a physical affair, a distinction that convinced nobody. Prinsloo was photographed days later, still wearing her wedding ring, face hidden behind sunglasses. She gave birth in January 2023, naming their son something else entirely. Number 13. Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian. Tristan Thompson cheated on Khloe Kardashian while she was pregnant. Then he cheated with her sister's best friend. Then he got another woman pregnant while trying to win Khloe back. Some people are bad at relationships. Tristan Thompson is a professional. Khloe was 9 months pregnant when TMZ posted footage of Thompson kissing another woman at a New York nightclub. More videos followed. Thompson with different women in Washington, D.C., in Miami, his hands all over them while his pregnant girlfriend prepared their nursery. Khloe's sister Kim had to break the news, later calling it the hardest conversation of her life. Khloe gave birth to their daughter True with Thompson in the delivery room, a decision that stunned even the Kardashians. She'd decided to forgive him. That forgiveness lasted until February 2019, when he hooked up with Jordyn Woods, Kylie Jenner's best friend, at a house party. Woods had been practically family, living in Kylie's guest house, vacationing with them, holding their children. The betrayal fractured the entire Kardashian-Jenner empire. Thompson still wasn't done. While attempting to reconcile with Khloe in 2021, he was simultaneously impregnating personal trainer Marilee Nichols. He denied paternity, demanded a test, then offered Nichols $75,000 for her silence. Number 12. Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis. Someone cleared security at CinemaCon, walked down the aisle during Olivia Wilde's presentation, and served her custody papers on stage. Jason Sudeikis claimed he had no idea it would happen publicly. Nobody believed him. On April 2022, Wilde stood before 4,000 industry professionals presenting Don't Worry, Darling, when a process server handed her a manila envelope marked Personal and Confidential. The humiliation was immediate and total. Their bitter custody battle had just become Hollywood's most public breakup. Their November 2020 separation had seemed amicable until photos emerged of Wilde holding hands with Harry Styles, her Don't Worry, Darling star, who was 10 years younger. The timeline became a tabloid obsession. Wilde insisted she and Sudeikis had been separated for months before dating Styles. Their former nanny told the Daily Mail a different story. Sudeikis discovered the affair through an Apple Watch, then threw himself under Wilde's car to stop her from delivering a salad she'd made for Styles. The nanny described domestic chaos. Sudeikis drinking heavily, Wilde sneaking to rendezvous, 2 young children caught between. Wilde and Sudeikis issued a rare joint statement calling the claims false, but the damage was done. The details had already gone viral. Number 11. Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. The nanny's job was to take care of Uma Thurman's children. She took care of Uma Thurman's husband instead. Ryan Shawhughes started working for Thurman and Ethan Hawke shortly after their son Levin was born in 2002. By 2003, Hawke had moved out of their New York townhouse. The timeline was suspicious enough that tabloids immediately connected the dots, though Hawke insisted no physical cheating occurred during the marriage. His philosophical defense made things worse. He claimed humans aren't naturally monogamous, and society overreacts to infidelity. Not exactly the apology Thurman was looking for. Thurman, Hollywood royalty since Pulp Fiction, dealt with public humiliation while filming Kill Bill's bloody revenge sequences. Hawke married Shawhughes in 2008, just months after his divorce finalized. They now have 2 daughters together, living in the Brooklyn brownstone he once shared with Thurman. Number 10. Billy Bob Thornton and Laura Dern. Most people break up with a phone call. Billy Bob Thornton broke up with his fiancée, Laura Dern, by marrying Angelina Jolie on live television. Dern was away filming a movie in 1999 when entertainment news exploded with footage of Thornton's surprise Las Vegas wedding. complete with matching tattoos and vials of each other's blood worn around their necks in lockets, a Gothic gesture that would become one of Hollywood's most talked-about relationship symbols. She'd been with Thornton for 3 years, wearing his engagement ring, building a life together. Now she was watching him build one with someone else, discovering her relationship was over the same way millions of strangers did, through their TV screens. The marriage to Jolie imploded within 2 years, Thornton later admitting he'd felt like he was living in a museum with someone too good for him. Dern never publicly attacked either of them, maintaining a dignity that made Thornton's betrayal seem even crueler. Number 9. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. Nannies don't usually get private jets to Vegas as a work perk, but Christine Uzunian wasn't a usual nanny, and Ben Affleck wasn't a usual employer. July 2015. Photos surfaced of the 28-year-old on Affleck's private jet to Las Vegas, wearing Tom Brady's 4 Super Bowl rings like trophies. She looked like a girlfriend on vacation, not an employee watching kids. Jennifer Garner was in the Bahamas with their 3 children, the same trip where she'd reportedly fired Uzunian after discovering the affair. Days after the photos leaked, Affleck and Garner announced their separation. Uzunian would later hire a crisis PR firm and post Instagram photos with her new $43,000 Lexus, captioned, "Keep calm and meet my new drop-top Lexi." Subtlety wasn't her strong suit, but the nanny was never the real problem, just the most public symptom of a marriage that had been unraveling for years. Affleck's gambling had spiraled out of control. He'd been banned from the Hard Rock Casino for counting cards, reportedly losing millions at private poker games. His drinking, a struggle since his 20s, had gotten progressively worse. The marriage hadn't died from one affair. It had been slowly collapsing under the weight of addiction and self-destruction. Garner's response became the real story. No public attacks, seamless co-parenting, and in 2018, she drove him to rehab herself so their children could see their father trying to get better. Number 8. Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. Rupert Sanders cast his wife to play Kristen Stewart's mother in Snow White and The Huntsman. Then he had an affair with Stewart. Some directors take their work too personally. In July 2012, a photographer spotted Stewart's Mini Cooper parked behind a guardrail near the Hollywood sign. Through his telephoto lens, he watched the 22-year-old Twilight star in a passionate embrace with her 41-year-old director. The photos showed them kissing in her car, against the vehicle, her hands in his hair, his on her waist. Far more than a momentary mistake. Sanders was married to model Liberty Ross, who'd played Stewart's mother in the film they'd just finished. The photos hit Us Weekly like a nuclear bomb. Robert Pattinson moved out of their Los Feliz home that night, taking his dogs and leaving Stewart to face the Twilight fandom's rage alone. Death threats flooded social media. Team Edward versus Team Jacob became Team Everyone against Kristen. The couple briefly reconciled for Breaking Dawn promotional duties, but it was performance, not forgiveness. Stewart issued a public apology that read like a hostage negotiation. She was deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment she'd caused. Sanders issued his own statement apologizing to his wife and children. Both relationships ended. Number 7. Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson. Kenneth Branagh cast his wife Emma Thompson as Mary Shelley, the woman who wrote about creating monsters. Then he became one by cheating with his co-star, Helena Bonham Carter. The affair began on the set of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in 1994. Bonham Carter arrived in corseted period costumes, embodying everything Thompson wasn't. Dark where Thompson was fair, wild where Thompson was refined. Branagh, directing and starring as Victor Frankenstein, fell for his co-star, while Thompson waited at their London home. The British press, who'd celebrated Branagh and Thompson as theatrical royalty, turned savage. Thompson later wrote about crying so hard she thought her eyes would fall out, about feeling like broken dishes that could never be properly glued together. The woman who would win Oscars for both acting and writing channeled her devastation into her work. Her performance in Love Actually's betrayal scene years later was so raw that crew members cried during filming. She'd turned her husband's infidelity into art, the best revenge she could create. Number 6. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver. Two women were pregnant in Arnold Schwarzenegger's house at the same time. One was his wife, one was his housekeeper. Their due dates were 5 days apart. Mildred Baena had worked in the Brentwood mansion for years when she gave birth to Joseph in October 1997. Maria Shriver delivered Christopher just 5 days later. Both babies grew up in the same 12,000-square-foot house, Joseph playing with Schwarzenegger's legitimate children during staff parties. The resemblance became undeniable as Joseph hit adolescence. The jaw, the smile, the bodybuilding genes. Shriver started asking questions when Joseph turned 14. Schwarzenegger kept the secret through his entire governorship of California, paying Baena's mortgage and funding Joseph's education while playing devoted family man at state dinners. In 2011, during a marriage counseling session, Shriver confronted him directly. He admitted everything. The revelation destroyed more than a marriage. Shriver, a member of America's most famous political dynasty, as the niece of President John F. Kennedy, had built her identity around marrying well and upholding family values. It shattered that carefully constructed image and exposed Schwarzenegger's family values platform as pure performance. Baena retired with a severance package that bought silence too late. Her son discovered his paternity through news reports, an innocent teenager thrust into a spotlight he never asked for. Number 5. David Letterman and Regina Lasco. Most people pay blackmailers. David Letterman called the FBI, wore a wire, and turned his extortionist into a punchline. The package arrived at Letterman's car in October 2009, containing photos, emails, and a $2 million demand. CBS producer Joe Halderman had discovered Letterman's affairs with female Late Show staffers, including Halderman's own girlfriend, and decided to cash in. Instead of paying, Letterman worked with prosecutors to stage a sting operation, handing over a fake check while recording the entire exchange. Halderman walked straight into the trap. 3 days after the arrest, Letterman did something unprecedented. He turned his own scandal into a monologue, telling his studio audience about the affairs, the blackmail attempt, and the creepy stuff he'd done. The confession was vintage Letterman, self-deprecating, uncomfortable, and somehow making the audience laugh about something that should have ended his career. Number 4. Hugh Grant and Elizabeth Hurley. Hugh Grant paid $60 to a Hollywood escort. It cost him a multi-million-dollar rom-com career, his reputation, and nearly his relationship with Elizabeth Hurley. Grant, Britain's charming new romantic lead, fresh off 4 weddings and a funeral, was arrested in his BMW on Sunset Boulevard with Divine Brown. Hurley was home in their London flat. The arrest photo, Grant looking disheveled and mortified, became instantly iconic, more memorable than any movie poster. He'd traded everything for one transaction. Hurley's response stunned everyone. Instead of leaving, she stood by Grant through the media firestorm, accompanying him to his Letterman and Leno apology tours, where he famously said he'd done a bad thing. Her loyalty during those brutal months became legendary, though friends revealed she made him sleep in the spare room for months. They finally split in 2000, but the bond survived the romance. Grant is godfather to Hurley's son Damien, and she calls him her best friend, the first person she calls in crisis. Number 3. Jude Law and Sienna Miller. Jude Law proposed to Sienna Miller on Christmas Day 2004. 7 months later, the nanny sold her story. Hollywood really needs to stop hiring nannies. Daisy Wright made $15,000 from the Sunday Mirror in July 2005, describing a month-long affair that included encounters in Law's bed, while his ex-wife Sadie Frost's children slept down the hall. The detail that stung most: Wright claimed Law told her Miller was just a publicity relationship. Miller found out through her publicist, who called with the newspaper proofs before publication. She later described feeling like her insides had been replaced with concrete, unable to breathe or think. Law issued a public apology that read like a legal document, all formal regret and no real emotion. They tried reconciliation, Miller moving back into his Primrose Hill home, but trust was gone. The relationship limped along until 2006, briefly rekindled in 2009, then died for good. The cruel twist came in 2008, when Miller was photographed topless on a yacht with married actor Balthazar Getty, his wife Rosetta, and 4 children back in Los Angeles. The woman who'd been publicly humiliated by infidelity had become the other woman herself. Miller never apologized, later saying the experience taught her that moral absolutism was a luxury she could no longer afford. Number 2. Shania Twain and Robert Mutt Lange. Shania Twain called her best friend, crying about her husband's affair. Her best friend consoled her, told her she was imagining things, then went back to sleeping with Twain's husband. Marie Anne Thiebaud wasn't just Twain's assistant. She was her closest confidant. For months through 2007 and early 2008, Thiebaud played the role perfectly, assuring Twain she was paranoid, that producer Mutt Lange would never betray her. Thiebaud knew exactly what to say because she was the one Lange was with, comforting Twain about an affair she herself was conducting. The truth emerged through phone records and credit card statements, hundreds of calls between Lange and Thiebaud, hotel charges that didn't match his schedule. When confronted, the man who'd produced Twain into 75 million albums sold simply admitted it and refused to stop. Their 15-year marriage collapsed overnight. Twain said the tabloid coverage felt like being stripped naked in public, photographers camping outside her Swiss chateau. Then came the ironic twist. Twain found solace with Frederick Thiebaud, Marie Anne's abandoned husband. Their shared betrayal evolved into romance, and they married in 2011. Two couples had shattered and reformed in different configurations. Number 1. Jason Aldean and Jessica Ussery. Most people cheat discreetly. Jason Aldean made out with Brittany Kerr in a crowded Los Angeles bar. Wedding ring on, cameras rolling. Country music's family man wasn't subtle about his exit strategy. In September 2012, photos emerged showing Aldean, the ring clearly visible on his finger, kissing Kerr, an American Idol contestant. He'd been married to his high school sweetheart, Jessica Ussery, for 11 years, and their 2 daughters regularly featured in his social media posts about family and faith. The images spread through country music blogs like wildfire. The wholesome image he'd carefully cultivated, devoted dad, small-town boy made good, crumbled overnight. Both Aldean and Kerr issued apologies, calling it a lapse in judgment, fueled by alcohol. The apology bought time, nothing more. Usuri filed for divorce in 2013, ending a relationship that had begun when they were teenagers in Macon, Georgia. Aldine and Kerr went public with their relationship just months after the divorce finalized, marrying in 2015. That's all for today's celebrity scandals. Don't miss the videos on screen now. They're just as crazy. Catch you in the next one.